So this Daji's new Bandara message is such an amazing message. There's so much intensity in that message. To me, um, I mean, it's completely, what should I say, a new era, a new dimension Daji has presented in his message. Like in Bhagavad Gita and the chapter 10, it talks about the Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti is like the manifestations of the ultimate. So we are all manifestations of the ultimate, just like we were talking a few minutes back. So the we are all manifestations, we are all children of God. That's what it means, right? All this manifestation, when it comes in contact with this higher essence, then that becomes the yoga, that becomes the mergence. And after that, the real life begins. The real essence starts. The real expression of the life starts. That is the gist of Daji's message. And he explained it beautifully. I don't want to spoil it for you by uh, talking about it, but I want you to read it. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss with me, please let me know so that we can talk about it. Or maybe we can talk about it after all of you read and understand, meditate over it. We can probably read that message in our next session if everyone is good with that. So now we started reading the seventh chakra, the seventh point. And we did talk about the stillness and the infinite movement, consciousness at the seventh chakra. So now let's go into this topic of the paracosmic region, the powerhouse. Did we miss anything on the seventh point? We did talk about the stillness. Or maybe I think we should read this. When one merges with this chakra, they become unshakable. Be it subject to study, be it a subject to study, a business deal to close, things in the family to attend to, or working on behalf of nature's commands, they can study the mind in all these areas simultaneously. There are few aspects I will discuss as we go through. Even their agitation will have a stillness, indicating the enormous poise that reigns within. If you are in the company of someone in this condition, you imbibe that essence and benefit from it. So you feel their peace and stillness in your heart. Such a condition and many other higher conditions result from the mastery of consciousness. The integrated development in the spiritual anatomy projects brings face to face with the with such conditions in a natural way. So we don't hanker for conditions or try to hack to access altered state of consciousness. This is very important to understand. Okay. We seek a mastery that brings us to a level where states of consciousness descend on demand. So once this is like this on demand thing is very natural. Once you have the experience of that condition, once you can connect to it, once you know the AEIOU, which Daji spoke about in his talk yesterday, last night, I mean, the last night session, he did emphasize on this AEIOU. Once we imbibe and merge into that condition, and slowly we refine it in a meditation after meditation, what the result is, we can recall that condition at any point in a year, any situation. So why the Urji says we become unshakable once we reach this point? Because now we had certain mastery over recalling that condition, that state into yourself at will, on demand. I'm like, today I'm down because something happened at my office and I'm miserable. Best just connect to this condition and you are out of that misery instantly, almost. That is what happens as we imbibe that condition completely and merge into that condition. Then you can recall it. Then it becomes almost your second nature to be in that state, regardless of what situation you are going through in your life. It is something in your hands. That condition is already bestowed upon you. So that's the very important aspect. And this here, by the time you reach seventh point, you have already uh, crossed the heart region, and now you are entering into the paracosmic region. That means your spectrum of consciousness is already expanded. That means you have already reached the boundaries beyond human conditions. That also means now you are coming in contact with this inner soul, you can call it essence. And the condition of the soul is joy and stillness. See, here, joy should not be taken as happiness or some kind of an ecstasy. See, what happens is, because we don't know this joy, because we don't know how to be in that serene stillness, poised state, typically in devotion towards a personality, what people do is they try to create certain ecstasy, and they're always looking for ecstasy. Now the addiction is of that ecstasy. If that ecstasy is not there, somehow they have to create it. Somehow they have to get excited about it. And people today, if you see in the world, they are so much caught up with this ecstasy, and they're finding different ways to create this ecstasy. For example, right, there's one singer died in one of the states in India, and he's not like a very famous singer where he has, where he sang. He's not like Michael Jackson. Probably he sang like four or five, hit songs which went viral. That's about it. The entire state came to standstill because people in millions want to go and see him off after his death. You see, why? Because that they're finding ways to create that ecstasy in many ways, whether it's through, this unnecessary aggrandizement of people, politics, everywhere people are looking for ecstasy. That's about it. Because it takes them away from their world. It takes them there away from their suffering. But here, the stillness is of a different order. If you see, Daji also talks about in his Banda, in the message I'm referring to. He also talks about different dimensions of this stillness. And in fact, interestingly, we spoke about it in our last session. Stillness have many shades. Just like, the you cannot buy the same white shirt because even there is different shades of that in that whiteness, right? So we have to recognize and realize all these different shades. They will come to you as our consciousness expands. So the paracosmic region, a powerhouse. Besides stillness, power and expansion take on a new meaning at the seventh chakra. This chakra is the storehouse of inexhaustible energy, and power descends from here to the sixth chakra. See, that's why we skip, once we touch the sixth point, the sixth chakra, we skip it and go to the seventh point. And from seventh point, the whatever the as we refine it, that refinement descends into the sixth chakra, and then we get the mastery over the sixth chakra. And there is a reason why we skip the sixth chakra, because sixth being the Agna, the power center. And just like I'm just referring to this ecstasy, it has certain ecstasy, ecstatic state. That power is ecstatic. We don't want to get stuck with that ecstasy. That's why we skip the our teachers in their love and benevolence. They don't allow us to stay in the sixth chakra for a long time, right? So when you merge in this chakra, you feel all the lower chakras are also energized with power. It is as if a bolt of lightning is discharged from the seventh chakra, which continues support the expansion of the lower chakras. So in some of your meditations, while at the seventh chakra, you feel as if the field of your meditation is expanding from your heart and growing outwards. So when you come out of meditation, you have a distinct feeling of expansion within and without. So some also feel the expansion as ascension when they soar to higher level, riding waves of energy higher and higher. Consciousness becomes so liberated that project you can sense it projected in all directions. So some sensitive practitioners feel that they are expanded all over, and the distance no longer feels like a barrier. So to some, even the universe seems small. And this is another very important topic. Let's see how we are doing on time. Yeah, we can finish this in 9 minutes. The trapping of power, curvature, and unleashing dominance. This curvature is something we need to understand, and it is important to understand this concept. I'll tell you why. The chakra is an ocean of power and ecstasy, replete with curvature. One may feel ecstatic when passing through this region, and the feeling is created by power is a sign of ecstatic ego. Like I said, power creates ecstasy, right? So we need to understand the power versus the divine essence, divine energy. And after reading Daji's article, it truly dawned upon me what divine divinity really means. So the divinity is, as such, we can say the essence, God is power. And God has no mind. That means even we say God has love, in that state, it becomes meaningless. And we, as a manifested beings, are born with certain energies, and all our energy is centered or governed by our ego. So both individually is of no use, if you ask me. But when this manifestation comes in contact with this higher, what is created in us is divinity. That divinity is love. So without this manifested entity, us, becoming in contact, come in contact, or merge into this higher, there is no divinity. It sort of dawned upon me after reading Daji's article. That's why, I mean, there's so much in that article. You can write volumes about it. So the feeling of the power is always ecstasy. Power is felt by the ego. So the effects of such ecstasy are encountered by spiritual restlessness, within which helps one move onward. And additionally, if one can remain vigilant to such conditions, then the journey becomes faster. Okay. Besides ecstasy, some may enjoy the charming effects of power and feel invincible, and upon whom do we unleash our so called invincibility? Mostly our loved ones hear the brunt. So, before going into the story, I explained this so many times in our sessions, but repetition is always good. We'll talk about this and then we'll go into session with Daji. See, each level is like this. I don't know why it's deleting. Okay. So each level, you can think of it like this. You see, it is always curving. So suppose if I start from here, right? My journey, let's say I start from here. It's not visible. Okay. I start from here. And then with all the effort, meditation and cleaning and sittings and transmission, I reach this point. So because this thing is curving down, my again I come back. So what's happening is I'm only going in this cycle. But when our intensity of meditation and the connection, our connection with the teacher, when we reach at this point, teacher puts us into the next state. So this is where we have deep meditations and suddenly we lose that aspect of deep meditation because we fall back to the bottom. So at this point, when I reach this pinnacle, if I'm put into the next level, then again I am traversing like this. Then I reach this point. Then again I have to put here. So this is where the teacher or the guide or what we call the master comes into the play. And until this point is all our effort. It's our effort. So our effort and the effort of the teacher when they match, we keep going like this. We keep going like this. So we surpass every curvature point. So that is the curvature. But if we are not, if we are stuck, if we don't have this connection with this master, we don't jump over this curvature. That's why they say in India, some of the yogis, when they meditate, okay, so Daji is live now, let's go. to Daji's session. I'll stop this.